All right, yeah. To introduce this, we have tags are fluff, canon, typical violence, more to be added, freeform, background relationships. Caliborn gets adopted by 14 puppet men, as you do. Slow burn, and as slow as it gets. This is Chartreuse Romp by Mafa, who is here to read for us. Summary: Caliborn accidentally time travels to the Felt Mansion in the outskirts of Midnight City. Whatever comes from this can be either hilarious or absolutely tragic.
Hold on. Caliborn awoke from his slumber, half lying the rock-solid ground of his planet, half laying down on something soft and squishy. He didn't remember when he fell asleep or who put that blanket on him, but he sure as hell knew that what he was gonna do next. He sat up and saw where he'd fallen asleep today, sprawled over Striped Blue Hat's lap. It wasn't uncommon for him to do so. He'd previously slept in piles with the purples and the striped orange and red hats on top of the giant striped maroon hat, even on the arms of Blue Hat once. It didn't really matter to him which one of the cushy frogs he made of bed every night. They were there to serve him anyway, and they were nothing but giant cinching puppets to him. The aforementioned puppet barely noticed his absence, instead just unconsciously adjusting himself on his ass and continuing to snore away. Caliborn looked at him with a mix of disdain and disgust, his favorite disses, as it were, but Striped Blue only answered a soft snore, lazily about. He stood up and met Purple Hat and Yellow Hat already up, who interrupted their jig to wave him a good morning. His salamanders kept dancing with each other and never let him watch, and it made his blood boil. Why are they so keen in putting on a show if they're gonna stop it every time he shows interest in it? Caliborn twisted his face into a frown as they approached, and Yellow Hat started talking.
Which character is Yellow Hat?
That's Itchy.
Okay. Oh, we didn't assign an Itchy. Oh, fuck it. I'll do Itchy's voice. Top of the morning, Caliborn. Had a good night. Many dreams were had. What's the skinny for today, my lord?
He held an alert, cocky stance, and boy, he wouldn't shut up. Caliborn hated how giddy his leprechauns got during downtime, always talking to each other and not with him, and saying things that he only halfway understood. It drove him mad, for sure. And he came to mind as he shifted from one foot to the other, glancing up at Yellow Hat, pondering what he should answer.
I've told you before!
The cherub started, tugging on his covers, a growl of impatience at the back of his throat.
I have to work on my masterpiece! It has to be done in time. Such amazing arts and crafts skills can't be kept from the public!
Who's Purple Hat?
Clover.
I love public.
Okay, Clover.
Sorry, yeah, that's me. I love public.
What? Okay, it was Purple Hat's time to interject, and the little munchkin watched his lord with interest through his pupilless eyes.
Are you gonna put on a show for us, my lord?
Are you dense, Purple Hat? The public is such of a nature that none of you, little simpletons, could have. It is what pulls the curtains and peeks into my quest for infinite power. And hoes. I request hoes, too.
If you want, I could be here.
The small one started innocently, but got interrupted by the loud yawn coming from behind the kid. It seemed like Striped Blue Hat was up. He itched his little eyes and scratched his big belly and blubbered a good morning to the other two, who reciprocated in the same jolly fashion as before. Fucking hell, how Caliborn hated their neighborly approach to socialization. Neither of them attempted even a single mind game. Green peasants, the 14 of them.
Looks like the lordling's working on his masterpiece today.
Yellow Hat started, leaning onto a particularly big piece of rubble, which Striped Blue had made into a corner for himself to sit down and rest for the night.
I think it's gonna look pretty awesome when it's done. Who's
Sawbuck.
Oh, that's great.
Blue stripes shift to give Caliborn a big grin. Grin. Yes. His crooked
Grin.
mouth and sharp but inoffensive teeth stretching into something amicable and encouraging.
I wish you could tell us what it is, my lord.
I won't tell you geckos anything.
Caliborn crossed his arms, and the blanket he clinged on slipped from his shoulders to the floor unceremoniously.
That will jinx it. Plus, you're all working on a need-to-know basis, as it were. So that means you don't have any information that I don't wish you to need to know. You are going to get in my way and make me fuck it up.
Aw, that's okay, Skittle. Maybe you can show it to us some other time.
Striped Blue replied with the same dopey smile, and Caliborn frothed at the nickname. The Brussels sprouts had given him the name one night while they communed around a campfire like the simple life forms they were, and he himself was too busy furthering his art skills to pay them any mind. And then, unattended, they schemed against him and named him against his wishes. A bunch of useless drats they were.
No, you'll have nothing to do with it.
Caliborn shouted, and that got the attention of the other leprechauns, who were all not very far away and at different stages of awakeness at that point.
I won't stand for this.
maybe you can sit on it then?
Yellow Hat started, and got an elbow to the side from Purple Hat to shut him up. Caliborn stormed off to sit at his station to get working on his artistic endeavors, pulling up his colorful clay and his art supplies. The leprechauns came together then to watch him as he muttered to himself and typed away at his console, most of them there, except a couple of the bigger ones and the slumbering Blue Hat, whom Caliborn himself once described as a slippy bitch. Maroon Hat, that's Crowbar, watched him go by his business and side-mouthed.
You know, I think we should get Skittle some breakfast.
Oh no, Trace is here too! This is embarrassing. Okay, in response to that, Red Hat lisped up. The boys are already out looking for something to eat, Chief. That's, Sawbuck.
A child can't grow well without his nutrients, I'll say.
Striped Blue Hat spoke up.
I can cook him something yummy to eat. Who's bringing it to him, then?
They looked between each other. Maroon Hat shrugged.
Well, usually whoever's asking.
Aw.
Orange, striped green, striped red, and striped maroon returned. Green got out of the bush he hid for the last 12 or so hours. The sleepy bitch woke up, rejoiced. Breakfast was served and plated in a nice little bowl, for Caliborn especially, and Striped Blue waddled up to Caliborn's creation station, loosely followed by Maroon Hat as moral support. The cherub stopped as he approached and glared at the bowl.
What's this?
Repast, my lord.
No candy? What, are you trying to kill me? Your conspiracy won't get any further, gnome!
He stood up, assuming a combative stance. Striped Blue cocked his head, confused.
Oh, I would never do that, my lord. I thought you'd like some sautéed.
Caliborn grabbed the bowl off his hands, inspecting it with his face and also his mouth.
This seems
He munched on a strip of meat.
passable. I'm just eating because I'm hungry. Your insolence will be punished. This is in fact really terrible and not good at all. You suck at cooking.
The rotund leprechaun stepped back, watching the boy eat with delight. Knowing his lordling was well taken care of and healthy was what made him the happiest. It's what he was made for, after all. aiding his lord in whichever way he could. Maroon joined him, and before the two could speak, Caliborn started another of his rambles between munches. Eventually, other leprechauns approached as he spoke, drawn to his words like moths to a flame.
The masterpiece is vital. I have to share it with my audience. I have to tell them the vision I had, the prophetic fruits of my labor. Then I will finally defeat the big serpent and claim my treasure. Then maybe, I can fit it in my schedule to have ice cream desserts with the boys.
Fight's gonna be hard, ain't it? Orange Hat casually broached the subject. We're gonna be around for that.
No! This beef is between me and the elusive snake. A private affair. Intimate, one might say. But you give me an idea, Orange. You!
The cherub tossed his breakfast aside and pointed to Maroon. He jumped in place a bit, acknowledging his summoning.
Yes, my lord.
You come with me to the cuboid item creation station.
The alchemider?
Follow me.
And so he did, being led towards the remains of the boys' quarters. He rummaged through his pile of things, finding an old alarm clock and a pistol with no ammo that he discarded a good while before, and raised them up to his leprechaun.
I am going to concoct the most ingenious of devices.
Caliborn spoke with the items, one in each hand, as he walked back outside to the alchemider.
By simply adding together a clock and a Glock, I will create a time gun to help me defeat Yaldabaoth.
Why do you need me here again, my lord?
I need a witness man to witness history.
Smiling from red cheek to red cheek, the cherub put himself to work. It wasn't that hard to do, or that cumbersome, but it still brushed the leprechaun with him the wrong way. It felt to him a bit premature and dangerous to do so, even if, to be quite honest, the alchemizing process was fairly simple.
Caliborn, I think you should take more care with what you're...
Shut up, minion! I know what I am doing.
The alchemider flashed white, and the time gun was there in all its time gunness. Caliborn took it, felt its weight in his hands, solid, sharp-looking. This would do some great deal of damage for sure. He pointed at a Maroon Hat, blinking one eye as he did so. The green man straightened up his posture and raised his chin in suspicion, stepping backwards just a tiny bit.
My lord, what are you doing?
I need a test dummy to know what it does, don't I?
But do you have to wave it at me, sir?
Maroon pointed vaguely with his crowbar at the direction of the mechanical bunny that followed Caliborn around like a pet, and a toy fused in one.
Why don't you test it on that thing? At least you can repair it if you cause some damage, you know?
I'm not going to hurt dear, sweet, precious little Seb. I have 14 of you frogs. You think I'd miss one? Stand still.
Caliborn opened up a diverted grin as he squared up his shoulders to take better aim.
Sir, I beg you, please.
Maroon felt compelled to run, but he couldn't. He didn't have the strength to contradict an order from his lord. The gun was fired. He raised his crowbar instinctively, but a bullet hit it. Everything went white. The crowbar's innate ability of negating every time-bound power was something astoundingly powerful, and that's why Caliborn trusted the apparently less stupid of the elves to wield it. He could not believe it had been used against him just now, against his own will. Maroon Hat would pay for that. If only he could see, so he could smack that plush triangular man right where it hurt. Right now, everything faded from white to darkness, and everything he felt was grain, coarse, and cold. Caliborn thought maybe opening his eyes would help. He saw the stars, countless of them, a sight not much different from what he was used to. He found 2 moons, pink and green, and that brushed him as odd. If there was to be 2 moons, they should have at the very least be red and green. That just seems like a waste of a perfectly good color scheme. He sat up, and the sand around him accommodated in the space he previously filled. The sand dunes extended as far as he could see, rocks protruding here and there at the distance. The chilling wind cut against his skin, the sand giving his arms painful reminders that they were uncovered. He hadn't been wearing his cape. Blue Hat took it for a wash the previous day, Caliborn now remembered. Fucking unbelievable. Now he was stuck there. No civilization for miles on end. Alone in an empty void. Oh, woe is him. He's fated to die. He turned to see what was behind him. Oh, look, a house. A big Chartreuse mansion stood cut against the sky, not very far away from him. Behind it, the smog and light of a town in the horizon, something he never imagined to see. Standing up, he gazed upon his new destination. Whoever was in that house was going to receive an extraordinary visit from a very special guest.
Nice.
That's really
Nice.
As a
fun.
resident
That was
intermission
fun.
liker, I had a lot of fun with that.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure at the point I said cook it sucking when the line was sucking.
You're fine.
That's okay.
Okay, we
I would
have.
like to know I lost my shit when you called them geckos.